my dance, make it hurt.
What up, traders? It's your host, Surreal.
And Juan, and welcome to episode 16. I think this week we're gonna have a little bit shorter of an episode, just because it was a little bit, how do you say, more uneventful, slower week.
hmm
However, I know you and I have been talking about this week, but I really enjoyed trading the way I traded this week.
Yeah, no, you were bored,
Yeah,
which is good.
I was bored, but but it comes down to like trading shouldn't be exciting, right? I shouldn't have my blood boiling at every click of a buy and sell or
Right,
um, my anxiety spiking every,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like I have a set plan in place. I have set levels and I execute at said levels
Yeah,
with the said plan and I just follow that, right? I mean, they're trying to take that emotion out of the trading plan because that's the purpose, right?
yeah, 100%.
That's how you're going to be successful in the long run is being able to control those emotions.
I think like too, the longer we're here, like this week was a slow week too, and it's just like it makes it hard to get screen time in when it's like you're sitting there and like nothing's really moving. I mean, there's stuff moving, but it's like sluggish. And if you don't have a lot of setups to watch, then it makes it even slower because then you're like, well, what am I looking at charts for really?
Yeah.
So kind of would just same thing for me, really slow week. Like I didn't even really scan this week to be honest, just because I had a focus list and everything looked like garbage. A couple things went, but unfortunately, um I wasted my day trades on day trades instead of,
Yep.
being super patient for a couple swings that actually went this week. So, that just goes to show me right there, like I need to just focus on my setup. Like there's still some setups there that are working. And I'll kind of go over that when we jump into the charts.
Sure.
Um, if you want to take us into your trades one.
Yeah, definitely. So once again, for a day trader, not a lot of trades this week. I had three, one of them a loser. And then I had two winners, and one was an overnight swing. That I was kind of hoping wasn't going to be like a long term, like maybe multiple night swing, especially not going into a long weekend. That's not something I have a lot of experience with. Rather do that overnight, typically gap up or run up and then just fade it is what I'm used to. But this one I was a little more patient with, which I was happy with, and it ended up working out about
Mm.
midday. So I guess we'll kind of go over. I'll switch my screen here. Let's talk about BA first. This was BA was a typical Juan trade, I would say. Just because I faded this one. I faded this one pretty hard. I didn't have to, but I did. Just because of the move it had made in the first five
I didn't
minutes.
have to do them like that,
Yeah, I
but
didn't have.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to put in that big sell order that I done. I'm just kidding. Um, BA, this thing was setting up. I mean, this thing was setting up on the daily. I had tapped demand a couple times. It was rallying. It just looked super good. Right into that 180.50 level. And then I had like a little zone at that 178 level, kind of like a small key level there. And I was watching and like I mean I've noticed recently that those first 5 minutes are super crucial to like look at the volume pouring in. Um, and I can capitalize in those first 5 minutes. I've been very good about being able to like enter on a whim and exit if I have to very fast. Thankfully, it hasn't come down to that. I'll explain that in a second because that happened with Zom basically at the same time I was in this trade. Um, so this thing, I mean, if you guys there can see just like the volume from I think this was yesterday. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, yesterday it was just I mean pouring in this volume spike. This bar was like what was that? That was a 2% bar in the first 5 minutes. And about midway through this bar, I entered a pretty big contract. It was about $250. And I made out by the top of that contract with my just like 4 cents under my 20%. But it started kind of chopping around, and I knew the way BA moves, uh, IV on the contracts really spike, and I wanted to take advantage of that quick spike, that quick volume spike, that quick IV spike, and let go when the premiums were very extended. I came back to see it midday, and this thing was I think this was about a dollar or two higher, and the contract was only about $20 higher. So it wasn't a huge difference. I was able to pretty much let it go towards the top, which I'm very content with. Um, like I said, this is like one of my I mean, this is like my bread and butter setup right here. I saw the volume pouring in, I'm in, and I see the volume coming out, and this thing may be consolidated. Like I don't have runners. I'm still working on the one contract. I'm gonna let this go quick. I'm not gonna, let this play games with me, especially not when I have a winner on the table.
Hmm.
So one contract, let it go. Called it a trade. Same time I was managing ZOM, but this one did fake me out. I saw the same thing on Zom pretty much. It had decent volume pushing through, obviously not the same as like days before. But I saw it right at my key level. It was pushing towards my key level. I got in about midway as well as the volume was kind of pushing through it, and it started wicking pretty heavily. And I took like, I think it was maybe like a 17 or 18% loss on it. Wasn't a big loss. Still, it was just a little bit above my average loss, which is sitting right around 16%. And so you could tell this thing faded the rest of the day and then kind of moved into those highs again. And on the daily, this thing looked thick towards the end of yesterday, right wedges right up against that key level. I believe XLE, which ZOM is in, which is its ETF, was it was one of the only green. No, there was a lot of green yesterday, but it had a lot of relative strength. XLE looks really good on the daily as well. So I took an overnight contract swing on this, and this thing I mean, it worked out pretty nicely. This thing spiked in the morning right through that key level, started kind of fading back in, but it was super low volume, and then picked up some steam, and I was able to get out right around that 88 area for about 20%. It was a monthly contract, so it was moving a little bit slower. I didn't have to get like this pullback didn't bring me negative or anything, and then that it moved up into those highs for me. So um, overall, very productive week. Yeah,
Nice.
moving up slowly. I'm not in a rush, like I've said before.
I mean, you're
And
moving up in a shit market, so
yeah,
like
so
there, it may not be light speed or doubling your count, but like you're still growing, and like the upside's gonna be way more once the market comes back.
yeah, definitely. So I mean, it's like I said, I'm just focused on my setups. I'm not taking anything that I'm not prepared for, anything that I don't have planned, anything that's just moving because it's moving. So
Right.
it was a feel good week for sure because I made a small move up on my account, on my confidence. That's very important, and then just sticking to my plans. I think that all kind of
Hmm.
like starts stacking up and really adds to like the back end of my trading.
Totally. Yeah, and it's like it's really nice to have that confidence too, because it's a huge, huge deal. I feel like when you're running through a rough patch, and then you start questioning things, and that's where a lot of new people, like, I feel like, get sideswiped. Like, and even me, sometimes like I still struggle with my setup, but the more you trade it, I think, and the more you see it through bad time and good time, like then it's like, okay,
Yeah,
you're gonna push out of that, and you're gonna just get better over time with the setup.
yeah, one
And it's
hundred
a good
percent.
deal. So that's awesome, man. That's good. Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
kind of slacking too. Like I had some stuff on my focus list this week, and like I had two stocks on UEC, which I think we talked about last week, and that actually like breakout followed through. It had a bit of a pullback, but it stayed above its base and its main range. Pushed up, then I'd like to see it sideways so the EMAs can kind of catch up, let it range out, consolidate, and then push higher. Um, I feel like with the size of this base, like a measured move is somewhere in like 7 to like 9. So I think 10's you know, a good place to kind of maybe take some of the position off if it starts extending up that way. But, not going to get ahead of myself. We'll see what if price can stay above the 8 EMA, I'm just going to let it work. And then if it starts getting extended up in there, we'll see as far as profit taking goes. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just trailing the 8 EMA and just being patient with it.
This has been one of those
Um,
setups that's been working really well for you, like, just, like, even in accordance to, like, the past couple months, right?
yeah, I wasn't really focusing on it. I would say that the beginning of the year, I was more so like on that day trading because it's just the market was so volatile. And I did all right day trading, but I really, oops, just dropped something. I really think that I've narrowed it down to these kind of setups, these ranges where they can be multiple types of patterns, flags, pennants, larger type of bases. Um, but really identifying these setups for me, like finding ranges, tight areas where something's already made a big move up, is like that needs to be my focus. I just need to specialize and I need to be patient and focus on these trades. And honestly, like because of my sizing and stuff, I haven't been wasting day trades because my stops or my position size is where it needs to be, so I can place my stop where it needs to be, and then I can let the trade actually play out. So yeah, so UEC work, that was a good one. But like looking over my focus list, I have some other stuff setting up here. But cat today, like because I tried to short AMD this week on a day trade just because I got bored, right? And it's like that's the discipline thing that comes in. So fooling around and taking like two small losses on AMD during the day and burning my PDT day trades. I had cat which ran $7. So I could have, and these large caps, if you can keep a tight stop, a $1 stop, you can put some size on and really,
Yeah.
I mean that's $7, $8 move in one day. So that's one that I missed. ARCH, coal stock, like I was thinking like how when I found this in my scans, I'm like, how much is a coal stock gonna do? But like, I mean, it came out of this big base right here, made a big move up, and then it ranged kind of sloppily. Um, but right here, it bounced back up, kind of broke the slower range, held the lows, but then it kind of started tightening up, and I was watching it, and I saw it go this day, and I just didn't take it. Just because I'm still like, we were talking about how that confidence is you sometimes like you second guess yourself, right? Like if you don't know about your setup or whatever, if you don't have enough confidence or haven't seen it enough or studied enough. So I still like I'm like, I don't know. Like and then by then it's already, end of the day, it's already broken out and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna chase it. Like I really don't care. I could have probably got it on a lower retest here on this day, on this pullback here.
Mhm.
On the 1 hour. It made like a perfect flag. It broke out of the main range and then it flagged the rest of the day perfectly. And then the next day it gave you a nice hammer. So if I was watching it, I probably could have took it there. Could have got a secondary entry off this nice hammer on the hourly. Um, but it is what it is. Like I'm not. Geez, that is a really good move. One 149 to 167, and that goes to show you right there. Like did the work, found it in the scan, was watching it. Like, I probably found it back in here somewhere, right? So I had this, you can see like where I had secondary ranges kind of, and even broke the range right here. Um, and so like this is why it's so important, like to not let stuff fall off your radar. And it didn't. I don't know, man. Like I just was like yeah, it's a setup, but it's a coal stock. Like I don't, second guessing and stuff. So that's when
Yeah.
you gotta know, like, hey, this is a pretty decent setup, but I'm still working on defining that, like what that looks like and what, what where I need to draw my focus.
Yeah.
So perfect example, cat two coming out of a big large base and pretty clean base here. And then it
It breaks
bounced
out.
back up from lows, flagged on the weekly. Yep, had a little in earlier range here. You can kind of see the main range, and then also I had this little secondary flag here. So could have got a nice early entry there. Instead, I burned two trades on AMD and didn't have any day trades left to take two breakouts that would have worked. Even though the market's doing whatever it's doing, I think you guys said it was down. I'm not watching the indexes anymore because I'm just trying to focus on setups. But like stuff is coming out of ranges. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying breakouts galore, but there is stuff that in the past week has worked.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
just
I think it's been
it's
very
not.
very intuitive to like watch like these work too because we haven't seen a lot of that in the past couple months. And then we start to,
Hmm.
now we're seeing the more consistent breakouts. Yeah, they might be in a different space than we're used to, right? Like seeing maybe not tech or maybe not, the what the companies that
The
everybody's like,
normal
yeah,
growth
yeah,
multipliers.
exactly. So it might be more like commodities based stocks or
Oh, whatever's
y-
setting up, right? Like that's clearly what the trend has been: oil and gas, like the uranium stuff, energy. Like you traded ZOM, right? Like ExxonMobil, and so it's like you kind of just got to go where the money's kind of flowing. It doesn't necessarily have to be long or or have to swing trade, but for me, if something's trending and made a big move up, like that's where we kind of need to be at least. Or for you, day trading and stuff, you probably want to be where there's news or where there's a good setup for a potential good scalp move.
yeah,
So it's just, yeah, it's tougher when it's a slow market because you really got to pick the right sector, the right stock. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. We're still learning every day through this cycle. And then hopefully we'll be better equipped when the bull market comes again to really capture quantity wise. I feel like too, because like remember in October, like alerts, it felt like every day, every day stuff was just like we
popping
were like, oh,
off.
look at
Yeah,
this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, like this is going off, this is going off,
yeah,
and
making big moves.
there's money to be made in those and that's where you really got to slam on the gas and get size on your trades
Yep.
and use the profits that you're making and roll that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like in this type of environment, it's like like go take a walk, go run, go work out, like study. Like yeah, if there's trades, don't take your eye off the ball, but if there's not, definitely like you were saying, don't force anything and like boring is good. You'll know when things pick back up again if as long as you're scanning and running a, daily to weekly process,
Yeah.
you'll know when the market starts to turn.
No, definitely.
But yeah, it's just super slow and better to not burn mental capital, trade smaller, trade less frequent and keep it simple, like you said. Just
Yeah.
little gains add up in these periods.
I also think it's important to note, like for example, I saw today somebody on Twitter post like if you have like an up and coming star who's like batting average is around the same as like, somebody who's been consistent over the past couple years, right? But has been on a steady decline. And they both cost the same, who would you want to sign to your team?
Mhm,
And 9 times out of 10, you're gonna want that up and coming star, right? The cost is the
mhm,
same. He's batting the same average now as the seasoned pro, but he has his whole career ahead of him versus the
mhm.
other guy who's been on decline. And I think we're seeing the same thing in like in the market at the moment because I people are still stuck on a lot of stocks like the value, the growth stocks from last year, the Nvidias, the AMDs, the Roblox. That's like, oh my god, their business models and et cetera. Yeah, that's very important, but what are the charts telling you? Like if you're trading them, if you're not investing in them, it's very important to keep these things in mind because
Yeah, I mean, Roblox was, remember when I was swing trading that, and it's $140?
yeah,
It's a $40 stock right now.
yeah,
Like, yeah, Roblox, like and sorry to just interject there, but you bring up a good point with that stock specifically. It's like it's probably a killer growth stock. Like they're probably gonna keep killing it and make tons of money. Like I like pulled up YouTube it was on my TV and like I was gonna watch a video on there and like the search bar, as soon as I clicked on search, literally like the top searches were like this person Roblox, Roblox this, Roblox that. Like that's a no-brainer. Like that's a huge growth stock.
yeah,
And like it's under the 200 with a declining 200 SMA, under the declining 50 SMA, and it's like maybe it'll double bottom at 35 and go from there. And like, but if you're a buyer from like $100 to 140, like how effed are you? You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, and it may never come back. Like that, the story's there, the fundamentals may be there. That doesn't mean people have to buy it or institutions have to buy it. Like, you
yeah.
never know. You never know, and you don't know how low it can go. It can go much, much lower, and we don't know that. And it may be a good stock, and the market may just keep going lower. But like you said, like people get hung up on these same things, and if the theme is not growth because the Fed's raising rates and all these fundamental things are going on, I'm not a macro person, neither are you, I know, but it's like clear to see that you pointed that out that people are still stuck. They get stuck on the same thing. Some of them may come back and run one day, but
But when they do run, they may not even get up to their highs again, and then they just may
no.
decline once again. And I think that's like super important to just keep perspective in the market, especially if you're trading, if you're not investing,
Mhm.
right? Because as a trader, we want you don't want to you don't you're never gonna bottom tick the buy and top tick the sell, but you want to get into a position where you can manage risk. And if you're under
Mhm.
a declining 200, under a declining 50 after the stock was 140 5 6 months ago, and it's now $40. I mean, what's the where where are you at? This thing could chop around and just base out here again for the next X amount of months, X amount of years. I mean, I know like we've seen like Microsoft based out for years. I think it was almost a decade before it started running again, right?
Mhm.
It's like you never know the amount of time this thing's gonna just like sit there, right? It could
Yeah.
be a great company, but it doesn't, that doesn't mean the stock is gonna move up.
Yeah, totally. Or if like you're even it goes true for trading too, like like you were talking about, you want to be in something that's moving, right? That has a trend to it. So anything that's not being bid up and above key moving averages, like longer term moving averages over the past 200 days, the price can't trade above the average of the past 200 trading days. Like what the fuck you know? If if it's ripping off lows with huge volume, that could be a clue,
Yeah.
right? And it's set a nice bit, but like just like buying, yeah, just buying off the lows. I mean, you know, good luck. You never know. You might
Yeah.
hit a home run in the right stock, but
But
that's
yeah,
just crazy.
yeah, I mean, it's a lottery ticket at that point. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have to remember too that like for a stock to be able to double or triple, it needs to break its highs first, right? So like, I mean, you have plenty of time to be able to manage risk and find a place to get long on like these potential like different if we're seeing a bull market in the commodity space, like just I mean just it's easy, transition your eyes, like look for the bases in those stocks, look for the key levels in those stocks, like that's where all the volume's going, that's where all the money's pushing. Why would you want to be in something that it's not being really touched by big money, right? Maybe it's just sitting money now. Like I want to
Yeah.
be in something that's pushing.
Yeah. At least for trading, totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
for trading.
investing, I
For
mean,
investing is a different story, but we're
yeah.
here we're here to
Yeah.
to practice trading. So definitely for trading, you wanna be in something that's your setup. At the end of the day, that's your
Yeah.
setup.
And even investing too, like you can use moving averages. Like it's not like if you like a fundamental company, like I like Roblox, right? Like I think it's probably a good growth stock, but like I would never buy it with declining moving averages until like I see volume or something like that come in. And I would like to get like an investing account like to actively manage later on, but like for trading wise, like I'm looking for stuff that's moving up, that's trending, and giving me a consolidation pattern to jump on the trend. And if coal stocks and uranium stocks and gold stocks are doing that, then that's where I'm going to be because they're going to pop up on my scanner. The whatever stocks have made the biggest moves, like that's where you want to be. You don't want to be trying to bottom tick AMD, right? Like some of these stuff that's unless you're shorting stuff like that, like
Yeah.
it's a tough game, but I think that was a really good point you made. Is like a lot of people, bringing that up off Twitter, like people bringing up the same tickers, like expecting that these things have to go again. And in the next bull market, some of these are probably not going to run. A lot of them are probably not going to run. They're definitely not going to move up to where they were from freaking 2020. That was insane. We just didn't know it, unfortunately, at the time, how overinflated everything was.
Yeah.
But now that we've seen a lot of price action and a lot of stuff kind of play out, and you go back and you look and you're like, holy crap, the stock was over $100. Now it's like $10 or $20 or $30. It's like, and then people tell you, oh, it can't go lower. It's like,
It can always
look
go
at
lower.
how,
Yeah.
yeah, look at how high it's already off its highs. What do you mean it can't go lower? It could get cut in half from there. Like,
Yeah. I
So
think very important to keep all that in mind. Yes, there could be a bull market somewhere, but definitely just follow the setups. I mean, follow your rules. That's as simple as we can keep it, right? If the setup
yeah,
is there, if it follows your specifications, just trade it, manage your risk.
execute. Yep, that's
Definitely.
all there is to it. And I think it's going to probably get a lot boring. It's probably going to get more boring on this podcast, to be honest, because we're clearly headed in that direction to where you and me are like, we just keep narrowing it down. It's like I don't care about anything else. Like
Yep.
when people talk about this or that or stories and all that, like like I'll look and see if there's a trade there. But if I can't, with how I think and how I need to box the market in, if I can't do that, then it means nothing to me because I want to put my money where I can execute on what I know. And if I can't do that with whatever, the hype thing is, um, why do I care? Like I need
Yeah.
to put my money where it's gonna compound.
Yep.
At least for now, like, maybe as you expand your toolbox and you get more strategies, like, again, but it will always come back to if I have a setup or not for it. If I don't, then I really don't give a shit.
I mean, that's as simple as we can put it.
Yeah, and that's good trading, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Good trading's supposed to be boring, not exciting.
Yeah, and we're finally understanding that quote.
Definitely. I think we can call it there. I mean, we'll keep it shorter for this one.
Yeah,
Like,
short week, short podcast, not much to talk about.
yep.
Hopefully you know, hopefully the market will pick back up and we'll get a good rally this year. If not, we'll just have to keep on learning, studying, executing, and that's all we can do.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Um, anything else
Nope.
before we head out? All right.
Call it there.
All right. Thanks, guys. Remember, manage your risk, stay focused, be relentless. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.